In most of my videos, I try to keep things light-hearted. Not shallow, not dismissive, but light in a way that allows us to find meaning. Because at the end of the day, I want you to see yourself in the characters I talk about. I want you to understand them, even the ones who aren't perfect. That's the magic of storytelling. It helps us bridge the gap between who we are and who these fictional people are. It gives us a chance to learn something about ourselves while we enjoy the ride. But today is different. Today we are talking about Crow. And with Crow, there is no light-hearted takeaway. There is no silver lining inside her character that makes you stop and say, maybe she's not so bad. Because unlike other villains or even flawed heroes we've come across in this game, Crow has no redeeming qualities. Yes, if you squint, her reasoning might sound acceptable at first glance. She dresses up her words in the language of freedom, rebellion, and exposing corruption. But once you strip that away, all you're left with is another fake play, another performance, another mask for her true intentions. Her reasoning was nothing more than a cover for a foolish agenda. And the cost of that agenda, countless lives, dreams destroyed, families erased. Let me tell you a bit about the girl we all call Crow. Once upon a time, she was human, but not just any human, she was a terrorist. And that word isn't just meant to sound dramatic. No, terrorist is the only word that fits. Because her actions, both as a human and as what she later became, were acts of terror. She didn't just fight against authority, she brought death, chaos, and despair to innocent people. And doesn't that sound familiar? History in our own world is filled with figures like this. People who claimed they were fighting for some greater cause, but who left nothing behind but bloodshed. That's exactly what Crow represents. But what made Crow irredeemable in my eyes wasn't just her ideology. It was her actions. She was responsible for the deaths of Diesel, Brid, and Soline. Think about that. These weren't faceless NPCs. They weren't anonymous victims. They were characters we've come to know, trust, and even love. Diesel, the strong, dependable one with the quiet heart. Brid, with her unique charm and stubborn fire. And Soline, whose innocence and brightness made her a symbol of what was still worth protecting in this broken world. And in her final act as a human, Crow murdered them. Not only them, but their families as well. Entire bloodlines erased in a heartbeat. Take a moment and let that sink in. We as players, as commanders, often experience loss in these stories. But this wasn't the kind of loss that inspires growth, like when a mentor passes on wisdom before dying. No, this was raw, brutal, and unnecessary slaughter. And because of it, the weight these three must now carry is unbearable. Their afterlife is one of strange limbo. They now work as the ones who run the train. And while that sounds poetic, let's not romanticize it too much. They are forced to bear that burden, forever tied to the rails, forever defined by the moment of their deaths. In a way, yes, they've become angels of the rail, guardians to ensure such a tragedy never happens again. But no matter how you frame it, their fate is tragic, and it all leads back to Crow. She destroyed their futures. She tore apart their families. She ripped away their chance at a normal life, at joy, at peace. And that is a sin that cannot be forgiven. After committing these atrocities, Crow was given something she did not deserve, a second chance. While others died, while others who were innocent never got another breath, Crow was spared. And with that gift, with that new opportunity, she could have chosen to change. She could have taken a different path. But she didn't. She spat in the face of mercy. She doubled down on her hatred, her madness, her desire to see the world burn. This wasn't the story of a broken girl who didn't know better. This was the story of someone who knew exactly what she was doing and chose to embrace the darkness anyway. And that's why, no matter what her past was, I don't care. Because we know the Crow of the present. We know the choices she made. Take Jackal, for example. Her past was brutal, her story painful. And yet knowing her past only makes you love her more because she chooses to cling to something human. She chooses not to become like Crow. That's the difference. Crow had options, she had a chance, and she still chose evil. And here's the chilling part. Crow doesn't just hate life. She hates you. And I don't mean that in the twisted, anime-style villain who secretly loves the hero way. No, Crow's hatred for you is real. She doesn't hate you as a person, she hates the idea of you. She despises what you represent, hope. Because as long as you exist, as long as the commander keeps fighting, there's a chance that humanity can pull itself back together. And Crow doesn't want that. She doesn't want hope, she doesn't want survival. She wants everything, man, woman, and child, to die. To her, nothing has value, no life is sacred, no dream is worth holding onto. She is, in the purest sense of the word, a psychopath. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that everything she said was wrong. Because that's not true. Even villains can sometimes stumble onto a fragment of truth. As Arnie's herself said,
that it needs to be protected, and I know there's plenty who think it's worth saving. But me? I don't want to! This place is full of trash, and there's nothing here I care enough about to protect! I don't want to be a star!
The Ark itself is not worth saving. It is a broken, corrupt machine. But here, where she failed, and where we must not, we don't fight for the Ark. We fight for the people inside it. That's the difference. That's why we continue forward, even when it hurts. Crow wanted to destroy everything, but her madness forced us to recognize what really matters. Not the walls, not the system, but the lives of those who depend on us. So let's be clear, as a person, Crow is filth. Garbage. But as an antagonist, she is phenomenal. Because she forced us to see the world for what it truly is. Her presence ripped away the illusion that everyone can be saved, that the Ark is worth protecting as it is. She made us face the darkness, and in doing so, she pushed us to grow. At the start of our journey, we were naive. We flinched at death. We thought we could save everyone. Sugar's Bond story proved that, where even the smallest loss shook us. Shown in Kay's event, we've hardened, not because we've lost our humanity, but because we've learned the truth. Not everyone can or should be saved. And while Crow killed countless innocent men, women, and children, her cruelty pushed us to become stronger, to become protectors, not of the system, not of the Ark, but of those who truly matter. That's her legacy. Not her words, not her reasoning, not her lies, but the way she sharpened us into something greater. So here's the lesson Crow left us with. Evil has no excuses. Hatred has no redemption. But even the worst villains can leave behind something valuable, not in their actions, but in how we respond to them. Crow showed us despair. She tried to drown us in hopelessness. And instead, we rose above it. We became better commanders, better protectors, stronger leaders. Not because we admired her, not because we forgave her, but because facing her forced us to recognize what we must do, protect those we care for at all costs. So let's do that. Let's carry forward the lesson that Crow, despite being the monster she was, carved into us. Let's save the people we love.
I get that it needs to be protected, and I know there's plenty who think it's worth saving. But me? I don't want to! This place is full of trash, and there's nothing here I care enough about to protect! I don't want to be a star! Yeah, that's all there is to it. I just don't want to keep dragging them down. I want to pull my own weight for once.